Hey, what's going on, guys? This is the Scorpion Trucker. Today I'm going to talk to you about the two companies that I've leased onto and the circumstances around why I leased onto those companies. Some of the good, some of the bad, but most importantly, I want to share with you guys an important lesson I learned that cost me a little over $8,000. Stay tuned and I'll be right back. Well, if you were like me, I was a company driver and I wanted to become an owner-operator. Well, I didn't have the resources or the knowledge at the time to get my own authority. So if you find yourself in that type of position, pretty much what you're going to do is lease onto a carrier. So I found myself in that position. So when I was ready to make that move, I looked at a bunch of companies at the time, and I needed to find a company that was 100% spot market. I wanted to be able to choose my own freight and not be dispatched. And I ended up settling on Traveloka. Traveloka wasn't my first choice. There was another company that I really wanted to join first, but they weren't hiring any more contractors at the time. So the next best choice for me was Traveloka. Traveloka is 100% spot market. Though they have dispatchers there, you don't have to utilize the dispatchers if you don't want to. I joined them in August of 2020. Traveloka was a really good company. The staff was fantastic. I liked that I could contact the owner at any time. I had his phone number if I ever had any questions. The process was I contacted the company and then I was put with a recruiter. So the recruiter was the person who answered all my questions. One of the things that I covered with the recruiter had to do with trailer. I was in the process of buying my truck. I was doing a lease purchase with my truck, but I didn't have a trailer. So it turns out that Traveloka had trailers that you could rent or trailers that you could do a lease purchase. Well, I was interested in doing the lease purchase. You know, this was my new business. I really wanted to, if I could, with a company, I wanted to buy my own trailer. Before I signed anywhere on the dotted line, I had questions for the recruiter, and this is what I asked him in terms of the trailers. I wanted a fairly new 53-foot dry van that do not have wooden walls. Wooden floors, yes, but no wooden walls. Swing doors, of course. I wanted skirts because at the time I was traveling to California, and yeah, he assured me that they had plenty of those to go around. And great, so we're good to go. So when I signed on to Traveloka, I was able to get power-only loads from Arizona all the way to their yard in Georgia. That's where they kept their trailers. So we did that. We got to Georgia. I got there, and it was great. The support staff there was fantastic. They were wonderful. So then when it came to picking up my trailer, I go down into the yard. They had two sets of trailers. The first sets, they had about 3 or 4 of those. They were the 2019s. They were too expensive. They were out of my reach. But then they had about 5 other trailers that were the ones that I was supposed to pick from, that I would pick my trailer from. Well, when I got there, I'm looking around and I'm like, all these trailers have wooden walls. So then I go back in and I'm talking to the office staff. I'm like, well, I was told by the recruiter that I would have access to, in my price range, I was very detailed, access to trailers that did not have wooden walls. Wooden walls are going to limit the amount of, the type of freight I can get. Well, turned out I was kind of jacked in that situation. The trailers that I could afford only had wooden walls. What else was I going to do? I couldn't afford the other trailer, or else I would have just grabbed one of the other ones. They were a lot nicer, so I was stuck with this one. So anyway, after being on the road for about a month, at the time I was utilizing one of their dispatchers. He was great. The guy was fantastic. What ended up happening, after being turned down for about 6 loads, he asked me, he said, "Why do you have a trailer with wooden walls?" And then I explained the story. Well, he asked me, he said, "Well, you know what, I can talk to the owner because I know they're looking to start doing a lease purchase with the newer trailers." Because at the time, the newer trailers were only available for rental. He said, "Would you be interested?" So I said, "Yes, I would." So he contacted me right away, probably about 30 minutes later, and said that he would be willing to do a lease purchase with one of the newer trailers. Am I interested? So I said, "Yes, I am." I actually pulled over. My wife and I, we were driving, and I pulled over and I spoke to the owner myself. So we worked out a deal, and we looked at our numbers to go from a 2014 Stoughton to a 2019 Wabash with the plate trailer. It was beautiful. It had the air system for the tires. All the tires were beautiful. I mean, the trailer, there were about 3 or 4 of them, and they were in pristine condition. They were beautiful, low mileage on them, and we agreed to that we agreed on a price, which was going to end up costing me about $300 more per month. But I'm thinking to myself, okay, for me to get a 2019 Wabash with everything, I can pull anything with this. To me, it was a good investment. It was a good, and he was going to charge me $30,000 for it. So we were going to do a lease purchase for $30,000, which was maybe a little bit expensive, because I think brand new they were going for around 34. But anyway, it was a good deal. So I wanted the deal. So he said, "Okay, I'll send over the contract, yada yada yada," and off we went. Got a load back to Georgia, swapped those trailers, and took off. So we were off and running. The $8,000 plus lesson comes when I left the company. Okay, I worked with the company I started in August of 2020, and I left in July of 2021. And I joined another company, which I'll tell you in a minute. I had spoken with the owner because, well, I contacted him first to let him know my intentions, that I was moving on to another carrier, and I told him that I would like to continue the lease purchase on the 2019 Wabash. And then he says to me, "You're not doing a lease purchase. You're doing a rental." And I said, "No, you and I agreed on a lease purchase." And he said, "Well, I'm looking at the contract right now, and it says rental." So then I pulled out my contract, and my contract said rental. It was a hard lesson. We had agreed on doing a lease purchase while I was on the road. Well, he emailed me an agreement, and this is where the lesson comes in. While I was hurt, and I was hurt because I really wanted that trailer, and I had invested probably $8,300 or $400 in that trailer over the 10 months that I was there, 11 months that I was there. But when I read the contract, I saw that it said rental. It in fact did not say lease purchase. I have to take full blame for that, because even though I was on the phone with him, we had a verbal agreement. When that contract, because I had to sign the contract, when that contract came over my email, I signed it without reading it. And it cost me a trailer, and it cost me about $8,400 of equity in that trailer. But you know, It felt like a shot in the gut. It felt like, maybe I can accuse him of doing something shifty on me, that type of thing. But you know what? If I had read the contract, I would have saw that it said rental. And I would have said, hey, what is this? We're agreeing on a lease purchase. And then they would have changed it, and it would have been a lease purchase. So that's the lesson. You have to read the contract. I don't care if the contract is 34 pages long. You better read everything and understand everything that you're signing up for. So that was my lesson. But all in all, I enjoyed Traveloka. I really did. I had a good time. They treated me like gold there. They really did. The mishap with the trailer, that was my fault. After I left Traveloka, the next carrier that I signed on to, and the carrier that I'm currently with right now, that carrier is Like Trucking. Yay! Yes, I am a contractor with Like Trucking. I am so happy to be here. In fact, I wanted to lease on with Like Trucking first, but at the time, he didn't have any more room. He had already hired several contractors, and there wasn't any more room. So I joined Traveloka. But as soon as there was an opening, I didn't hesitate. Even though I was making good money, I left Traveloka on very good terms. Traveloka was an 85-15 company. 85-15. Like Trucking is an 80-20 company. Now, some may think, well, hey, you left more money when you were at Traveloka. Well, that really wasn't the case because of the deductions, the added fees. It actually worked out, and one of the other big reasons why that made it really easy for me to move were the fuel discounts, the fact that I get 100% of my detention, 100% of my tow news, tire discounts, all types of other things. At Like Trucking, we enjoy safety bonuses. We enjoy a longevity bonus. I joined Jeff's company in July of 2021. So today's date is May 13th. So May, June, July. Come July, I will have been with the company for 2 years. And what happens is he gives you a 0.5% longevity bonus. So after I'd been there a year, I was making 20.5%. What carrier does that? I mean, there are so many things that are wonderful about being on with Like Trucking. So to finish my story, come July, I'll be making 21%. And as long as I stay on with Like Trucking, I'll make 0.5% each year. So there are so many other benefits. The fuel discounts alone made it a no-brainer for me to come over. Because at the time, I don't know if Traveloka has fuel discounts now, but they didn't at the time. So yeah, that was huge. Another thing that was really huge about making the move to Like Trucking, and I knew it when he got his authority, when he started his carrier. I knew that it was gonna be the best company in the country to work for. Reason why is because Jeff had already had 26, 27 years of experience as an owner-operator. So it's a company for drivers, by drivers. And you just can't get any better than that. He is so fair. He understands the ups and downs of trucking. You really can't put a monetary amount on the experience, on the mentorship. I had questions when I was with Traveloka that they couldn't answer that I called Jeff to get answers for. I have a very good work ethic. I put a lot of pride in my work. I always have. And, every time I'm out here doing what I'm doing the best I can to make Like Trucking a success. Because Jeff is doing everything to help all of his contractors succeed. Jeff spends time trying to figure out what he can do to, on a professional level, we're not employees, but on a professional level, what he can do to provide a benefit to his contractors. All right, guys, so next time, I'm going to give you guys a tour of my truck. I'm going to give you a tour of my setup and let you guys check out my home away from home. So go ahead and hit the bell notification so that you'll be notified anytime I drop content that I think would be helpful to any of you out there. So thanks again, guys, for tuning in to the Scorpion Trucker. Peace out.